Natasha's in Kensington. Hello, Natasha. Your take on this. Good morning.
Good morning. First, Nick, may I thank you for your accuracy and frankness in calling out Palestinian terrorism. It's utterly shameful that other broadcasters are refusing to use the term terrorism, and that's a big part of the problem, because the lack of honest reporting of what has been happening in Gaza for nearly 2 decades. If the world had taken Hamas barbarism seriously in 2006, that's when it took control of Gaza by throwing its opposition off of the roofs of buildings, and if Hamas torture and murder against its own people had been reported, then these medieval, barbaric scenes of massacres of Israeli civilians wouldn't have been so surprising. And your last caller, Nick, is epitomising the problem. We need to call out Hamas as the equivalent of ISIS. The images are too horrific for the media to show, and reports of rape and slaughter by marauding Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad gangs, execution videos, parading and humiliating the kidnapped as you've described. The world needs to wake up, because the support being voiced on the streets of the UK for a prescribed terrorist organisation is sickening. It's a criminal offence, and I'm sure you'll agree that something needs to be done about it.
I totally agree, and I want to move towards peace. How do you respond, though, when callers, and that's the LBC is all about, says, but you have to remember how Israel behaves sometimes, and they say Israel behaves in a terrorist fashion. How do you respond to that?
Well, you have people calling in and spreading complete lies on behalf of these terrorists. The protest chant from the river to the sea, that is calling for the annihilation of Israel, which is what we have seen attempted now again. What they don't tell you, and that is the key here, the reason that so much bloodshed has been achieved by these terrorists in the last 2 days is Iran. This could not have happened without Iran. And we need to understand the geopolitics here. The US appeasement of Iran, the release of tens of billions of dollars to the Ayatollahs in Iran in recent months, it massively increases its ability to orchestrate this sort of attack. And you've mentioned the UN and the international community previously. The international community needs to face up for its responsibility for what has happened, not just for funding Iranian terrorism and attacks on Israel, but also pressuring Israel to make security concessions and making excuses for Hamas.
What of the almost, lastly then, Natasha, you seem very well informed on this, I wonder if you work in the area actually, almost schizophrenic behaviour by the United States, because you rightly reference what it's done as Iran, and now it sends warships to the Middle East.
Well,
it's schizophrenic, isn't it?
The problem is that the developments that we have seen with respect to the American administration has encouraged, unfortunately, Hamas to commit this slaughter and these atrocities. It's not since the Holocaust, Nick, that we have seen so many Jews slaughtered on a single day. And I do wish to address your mooting of UN involvement. The UN is on the ground in Gaza, and Hamas has used UN facilities to launch attacks on Israel, UN schools, hospitals. A UNICEF clinic was famously hiding the opening of a terror tunnel previously, and you'll also know that UNIFIL forces on the border with Lebanon have done nothing to stop Iran from arming Hezbollah with over 150,000 missiles which it's poised to launch. Iran is currently pressuring Nasrallah to get involved now. But all of the misinformation against Israel that we've continued to hear from some of your contributors this morning, and all of the funding of terrorism and the appeasement of Iran, all of that has contributed to this savagery and this onslaught, and it needs to be addressed square on.
Grateful for your input. Thank you.